Welcome to another video, and in this video a lot has happened since the first video that I posted. And if you haven't seen that first video, I'm gonna go ahead and link it down in the description below, so you guys can watch that video and kind of get up to date, up to speed with why this is like that and why that's over there. As you can see, a lot has happened. Also, after I finished recording that video, I went ahead and removed the engine the following day. So I just kind of have it like this for right now. I still have all the accessories and the VF Supercharger is up off to the side. So in the last video, I did kind of show you guys some pictures of inside the cylinder walls of what I found out, but I did not go into detail as far as the Supercharger goes. Again, I only showed you guys how the pulley of the Supercharger wasn't free spinning. So now, and I didn't go into any detail, just that was the only detail I gave out at the time. But now that I have the Supercharger off, it's still put together for right now, and I'll tell you guys the reason why I haven't taken it apart as of yet. About a week ago, I sent an email to VF after the incident, maybe a few days after the incident happened, and I pretty much in simple terms, I told them, hey, this is what happened. And then they replied to me that same day saying, please send pictures and what happened. So I sent them the pictures, video, pretty much what I posted in that last video, and a little bit more pictures of the Supercharger, which I'll go ahead and show you guys here in a little bit. But when I sent off those pictures / videos off to VF, and a week goes by, which right now it's Monday, I have not heard back from them, but I did send them another email this morning seeing if there's any updates on what they are going to do. So for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the damage that I am able to see just by peeking in through here. And also I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys also a video, because obviously I can't fit this camera right here into the where the inlet is. So I'll use a borescope and kind of give you guys a little tour of what's inside and the damage. So yeah, so you just saw pictures and a video of what's inside, so you can definitely see that the rotors just broke apart. I mean, as far as how that happened, I'm not sure. I don't think it's debris, because when I was looking at the air filter, I didn't see any debris inside the inside portion of the filter. And I was looking at the MAV sensor, and nothing from the MAV sensor fell off, or I don't see any damage from the throttle body to the air filter, or even this part right here where the inlet is. I don't see any scratches or no scoring, so I don't know. Nothing got into that part. So I think I'm just, for right now, at the moment, and I just see that the rotors just gave out. So they just kind of we're done, and then kaboom, there goes the engine. So right now, that's all the information I am able to give to you guys, because that's the only information I know without taking the Supercharger completely apart. But like I said before, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it together and wait until what VF decides to do. I'm gonna go ahead and start removing the accessories off from the engine block. I'm not gonna go into too much detail as far as how to take it off, because in the previous series of videos, I go into way more detail on removing the accessories and even installing the accessories. So I'm gonna go ahead, and again, those videos will be linked down in the description, so you can watch those videos if for whatever reason you never done this before and you just have a better insight on all the process that goes along. But I'm just pretty much gonna skip through a lot of material when it comes to removing this. Alright, so I got pretty much the whole front end removed. The only thing I still left on were the knock sensors. I was just going to leave those there for the time being because they're not really in the way right now. I moved everything except for these two hoses. I still have the headers on this side installed. And on the other side, I still got the headers. I got the water pump, the AC compressor, and then the power steering pump all removed. And also have the coolant crossover pipe. That was also removed. And the only thing that is on the back side is the clutch. Right now I have quite a bit of a mess here because I have all the accessories with the bolts were not labeled. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a break for right now, removing that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and organize here because I have over here the AC condenser. I got the wiring harness, and I got the crossover coolant pipe. So like I said, I'm going to do the headers and the clutch a different day. So a while back, when I got the engine from AM Tune, it was bare metal, and I went ahead and I in that video, which I'll also give a little picture of when I painted it. And I remember I was talking about see how the paint will hold up. So in almost 1,000 miles of operation with the engine, the paint has held up very well, very well, especially for it being spray paint, especially when you do it right. It definitely holds very well. Obviously there's a little bit of scratches because I have the wiring harness and other stuff, and the chains are right here. But as far as the front side goes, I don't see any paint chipping, no nothing. The only thing right here, so I don't know if you remember a few videos back, the auto tensioner was coming undone on me, and it was actually this part right here was coming undone on me, and this thing was wobbly, and then the belt was kind of like rubbing against this. So so that's what this is from right here, when I had that little auto tensioner situation, but that was fixed. But overall, like, the front side looks really good. I just showed you the top side. Now on the passenger side, it looks very good, like it's still brand new. It's like the day after I painted it. And on the driver's side, passenger side, on the driver's side, still looks pretty good. Just a little bit scratch here when I was trying to remove the AC condenser, but overall, it looks really good. So the paint definitely held up to its in those 1,000 miles. As already mentioned, I'm gonna just clean up today and call it a day for today. And again, I'm just gonna be waiting on VF when I get that email and seeing what they decide to do, and then that was just going to determine what I do with the VF Supercharger, if I open it up or if I have to send it off to them. So I'll keep you guys posted. The day I'm going to continue on with the removal of the engine stuff. So today I'm going to go ahead and start working on the headers on both sides. The headers are off, both sides. The clutch is off. So in order to remove the headers, I actually had to remove this heat shield wrapping that I was using first, because to get to like the little really complicated, hard to reach nuts, it was really hard to do it when this was kind of in the way. So I had to remove these, and I actually labeled these in order, so whenever it's time to put them back onto the headers, I know which side, the driver's side. I got the passenger side, and I labeled them from like the front part of the engine to the rear. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So obviously the front, all the way towards the back. Here's the clutch. So the clutch is still pretty good. And as far as like the back part of the getting going with the paint, it looks pretty good. The paint job. So yeah. So I'm very happy with how the paint stayed onto the engine block and didn't, peel or start flaking or anything like that. This is me in the future, and a lot has happened from the last clip I recorded. So right now I have the Supercharger now fully taken apart, and if you saw in the last clip, it was still together. So I'll go into later here in this video how to take it apart, but real quick, so at first, I did get, word from VF, and they were saying, there's really nothing they could do because it was a magnuson. Because at the time, before taking it apart, what looked like it was the rotors, which is a magnuson, not a VF thing. So then once they said there's nothing they could do, I went ahead and took it apart. So I started taking apart the supercharger. And then it was once I took apart the supercharger, that's when I discovered something, and that everything went a total 180. And then I had to go back and message VF and tell them the new findings as to what happened. And what I found was what actually caused this catastrophic. The engine gone. What happened with that? So I'm gonna go into detail after I showed this assembling of the supercharger. So now I know, and I have some good news, and I'll definitely share that good news towards the end of this video. When it comes to taking apart the supercharger, I really don't know if there's really a right or wrong way in which order to do it, but obviously I cannot remove this part where the coolant goes in because there's a bolt that's covered right back here where my pinky's at. So it looks like first I'm going to remove these 4 bolts right here, and this will be able to come off, and then I'll be able to remove where the coolant is and kind of like just work my way, work in one direction and see what I can remove and see more further damage with the supercharger. Okay, so far by looking at the rotors here, it looks like there's definitely, it was like grinding up against something. Let me see if I can. So right here you can see how there's like a circular path right here on this side. Then on this side, it looks like it hit something. Because I don't know if this thing really fell apart or broke apart. I'm not exactly sure exactly what the exact cause is here. Alright, so I'm going to continue on with the disassemble the supercharger. I'm going to go ahead and I can remove this part right here now. All the bolts are now easily accessed, and seeing how I'm going to remove this from the manifold. So it might be in here, so I'm not exactly sure yet, but I guess one way to find out. Have the heat exchanger removed, and like I predicted, the bolts to remove the manifold from the blower are right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here, pointing with my flashlight. So far I don't see any damages really to the manifold itself, just besides its normal wear and tear. There is a chunk down there, but pretty sure it's because of this. So I guess continue on with the journey. So I'm going to go ahead now and remove those 6 bolts. So right here, now that I have the manifold off from the supercharger, you can definitely see there's a huge hole right there. So I think whatever happened blew a hole right here, which caused the rotor. So it wasn't the rotors that gave out. I'm pretty sure this is what gave out right here. So I don't know. So you can have a better look right here. So once I open up the flap, you can see how that big old hole right there. So that kind of explains why, this side of the rotors are pretty much like scratched, like they're grinding up against something. So again, to what caused this, I have no idea. I really don't. So in the shrapnel that I got out of it, there's one piece that kind of looked very unique, and it was this piece right here. Looks like some sort of a dowel or something like that, but I noticed in the rotors that there is a little engravement right here that looks like the same size and shape as this, and of course enough, that fits the bill right there. So by this getting caught onto this while it was spinning, that's why this side right here went kaboom, and then obviously this side it just got the effect of this coming apart or exploding or what happened, and this got affected because I don't really see too much of that. Like I see like a little chip right there, but this rotor right here has the same engraving, and as this dowel right here. Got this the front plate off. So this feels good. I mean, nothing's wrong with this. I don't feel it feels really smooth. I mean, like there's no resistance at all. So this is good. And here's the gears. So as far as looking through the gears, I don't see any damage at all on the gears itself. You can see that little dowel I just showed you guys. You can see it goes right there, and it was dragged up to right there, so it's like it makes like a perfect circle. And I think that's what blew out that thing. But as far as like where that came out, I'm trying to see inside the bearings right here. There's any of those little dowel bearings, whatever it's called, missing. I don't see any missing. I see that they're all there. So I'm still kind of puzzled as to where that piece came from. And then also another see on the rotor side, this part right here looks like it fits right here. We're indented. Then when it came spinning, folding into each other, there's another indent right here that's also the same size, which is right there where the dowel fits too. So somehow it got wedged into here and then over to this side, and then made that, engraved that big old circle right there where the gouge is. Here, let me flip it on this side. So now you have there's a better view of it right there. So yeah, so that's it. That's how you take apart a supercharger, not by choice, but just trying to figure out what happened. So now it's back in present time now, and when you saw the last clips, I knew that this was the culprit, but I didn't know where it came from. And as mentioned before, now I know. So let me go ahead and show you the investigation as to what I discovered and where this piece came from. So here I have the supercharger laid out, so hopefully this makes sense. So pretend this is inside here, and this is on top of this part right here, because this mates with that part right there. So if you can see right there, there is a dowel right there. And the dowels help line up when you mate the supercharger with the manifold. It helps align it. When you look over here, there's a dowel that's supposed to go right there, but there is not a dowel because the dowel is right here. Now, how did that come off? When you look on the manifold side, you see there's two holes right here. One is for the screws that are used to connect to the supercharger. So this one right here is for the dowel, and then the second one over here, if you can see on this side, is also for the dowel. And if you noticed that where the dowel is, it's a see-through hole. There is nothing that's stopping it or anything. It's completely see-through. And same thing with the second hole right here. So because this is see-through, I don't want to say see-through, a through hole, this with time started coming undone with the vibrations of the car, this and that. This thing got dislodged, and it was floating in here for I don't know how long. And then again, remember, pretend that the rotors are back in here. So now that this is floating in here, and so when this thing got sucked in through here, which I believe what happened, the first place of contact was mostly where this gouge right here is on the rotor. So you can see, like I said before, this thing fits like pretty much, right in to that little keyhole cut of the rotor. So you can kind of see the side profile, how that is. So as it was rotating, I'm gonna rotate it. So right here where it makes contact is the same, again, the same mark that's right here. So again, as far as how long, oops, I just fell right in there. So as far as how long this thing was stuck in here, going around circles, it may have been, several for a while until it finally, I guess it came loose and it came to the front part of the supercharger, where it was now hanging that in right here. So then once it was up here, the dowel, and then it finally got stuck into that groove again where I showed you guys before, which is right here. So this little groove, little keyhole right here got stuck right there. And as far as how long this was there, again, just a little refresher course showing you guys where the dowel was rotating and stuck. Remember I showed you guys before how you can see like the path of the dowel. So again, that was going around in circles, and that's what caused this whole gouge right here to explode. And that's where this shrapnel here is from. So the reason why this dowel did the damage that it did was because this is a see-through, why keep on saying see-through? A through hole. That's not, it's not like drilled in for a little bit and it stops. It is on both sides. And as to what I mean by that, when you look at this one right here, this is also where a dowel goes. And you can see, if I put my finger on the other side, this does not see through. It actually stops right here. So yeah, so see the difference? There it stops, and here it's a through hole. All right, so before I go on with this video, I want to take a huge pause because that is a lot of information as to what I just showed you guys and what caused it. That was the evidence that I discovered. And like I said before, once I found out the evidence, I sent a short video of pretty much explaining what I just showed you guys here on this video. And then that's when they started doing more investigation through their, with their bosses and all this stuff. And I think the whole process took like several weeks to finally get a verdict as to what VF would be doing. So with that information, they realized that it wasn't a Magnuson issue anymore. It kind of, pointed the finger towards them. And I'm trying to say this in a nice way because I'm not angry at all. I'm not, I don't want to say I'm disappointed. It's just like, stuff happens, and I don't want VF to get a bad rep because of this. But at the same time, I want to inform you guys as to what happened and not, hide the truth as to what happened. So again, and it's a great thing that VF, after showing them that video, VF is doing right with with their product. So with that being said, they are gonna actually send me a new charger and the core to the heat exchanger, because this also got damaged. So again, this is definitely not reusable, but they're gonna send me a new one of these with a new charger. As far as the manifold goes, the manifold is still in good condition. Like I said before, it still has like its wear and tear, but there is no damage at all to the manifold. And I know I'm saying this quite a bit. It's a good thing that after showing them that that they are doing what I believe is the right thing. Nobody likes to take the blame. Even me. Like, if there's things that I did that's wrong, like, I'll admit it, but it's definitely not a good feeling when you're wrong. But and for a company that size like VF to pretty much say hey that sucks what happened, but we'll own our mistake. I'll still use everything. Is still going to be reusable. It was just that this is completely gone. So so that's good news number one, that VF is like, I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but I really want to get this message across that VF is doing the right thing and owning to the mistake. And this is not to scare anybody away from VF. This is not what I'm trying to send across, because that's not what I want to do. Because when I make these videos, I want these videos to be informal, educational, so that people, you know, that really have no idea what's going on, know and can learn from these videos. That's the whole point of this channel. This channel is not to be bashing anybody. And that's like the last, I don't ever want to be where I'm bashing other companies. Oh, they did this wrong or they did this. Like, no, I don't ever, and I know I'm saying this again a lot, ever want to be that person that does that. I want this channel, this YouTube channel, to, again, like I said, to be educational, so that people that, you know, for you guys that, you know, never done anything like this at all, can see, you know, like the process, the work that goes behind it, you know, how it can be done. And, you know, because I want you guys to learn this. I want you guys to see for yourself. And you may never, you know, remove an engine, but you get to see an idea of how, you know, how it's done, you know. So maybe further along the road, you know, it may not be, you know, with this car, but it might be a different car you own later in life that you choose to start working on. And I kind of want to, you know, encourage you guys to, you know, do the same for your guys' self, you know. Like, you know, it sounds scary, you know, to, you know, do this kind of work on a car. And this is definitely not your oil change or changing the tires, but I really want these videos to really be educational to you guys. And also I try to make them enjoyable, but at the same time, I really want you guys to learn from these videos. So that's why I'm giving you guys this information, not to scare you guys away, but to inform you guys. So after talking with VF, this is the first and hopefully only incident this has happened to. And it sucks that it happened to me, but at the same time, I think it's a good thing that it did happen to me, because I think I'm able to share with you guys as to what happened. And like I said before, VF is going to be doing a redesign of the manifold. Again, it's not, I don't think it's gonna be a complete 180 redesign, but I think what's gonna happen is, again, they didn't tell me what they're gonna be doing, and that's definitely up to them and what their redesign is. But I'm thinking it's gonna be something has to do with the dowels. If they're still gonna be using the dowels, I think they're not gonna drill these holes to be completely through holes. They'll probably do the same thing what they did here for where the intake is, like drill just enough for the dowels to, you know, to help you, you know, align the supercharger. So that is my guess. Or maybe they'll just completely remove the dowels. As mentioned, that's all they disclosed to me, that they're going to redesign it, and so that this does not happen to anybody else. And so so that I am the first and the last person that this problem or issue has happened to. So I hope, so that's good news to know, that hope in the future that this does not happen to any of you guys at all. Because and I pray that it doesn't happen to any of you guys at all. And I'm thankful that it only happened just to me and not nobody else. Because, you know, if anybody's gonna take the bullet, I'd rather it be me. So that is good news number one. VF will be supplying me a new charger. Now on to good news number two. And that has to do with the engine. So obviously, as I mentioned before, this engine is toast. There's, you know, this engine from the inside, especially the cylinder walls. Hopefully it's just the cylinder walls that are got damaged. So with that being said, where did I get this engine from? I got it from Alex. So what does that mean? Alex at AM Tune is actually sponsoring the engine for me. So that is a huge, I mean, like if you guys have worked with Alex before, messaged him, you know, great customer service. So Alex went above and beyond to do what he is doing, is actually sponsoring the next engine. So what does that mean for me? So that means I am going to send this engine off to Alex. So what Alex is going to be using this engine for is a project car. So he's going to be doing some stuff to this engine, and he's going to pretty much salvage, save it, give it new life and better life than what I obviously gave it, this engine, this poor engine. But Alex is actually going to send me another engine, pretty much with the same exact mods that I did this. So when I did this was the stage 1 build. So pretty much is like the internal rods and upgraded valves. And the one engine that Alex is sending me is the same thing, you know, the rods updated just the same as this one. The valve's the same, but the difference is the valve springs are upgraded. So technically, this is a stage 1 plus engine build. So this is like one up step from this engine. So that is like a huge. I mean, like I don't really deserve what Alex is doing for me, and but yet out of the kindness of his heart, and yeah, so I'm very grateful for when Alex kind of messaged me a while back saying like, "Hey man, heard what happened, and this is what I'm gonna do for you." Like I really don't have any words to say because when this engine was toasted, I was like, and you guys saw if you guys saw the last video, I was just like down in the dumps. So I just didn't know. Because a lot, like I said in that last video, I talk about it more. Like I'm just in a different place, financially and just family wise and just time wise. Everything has just changed for me, and I'm not able to do what I did in the last build, where I was able to just to kind of like throw money at it and get the ball rolling. And now, since times, like I said, times are different for me and and my family. I just don't have I don't have all the time as I used to have, and just financially things are a little bit different. But again, I'm not trying to make anybody play the violin for me, or I'm not doing no GoFundMe page. So if you've seen one, that is completely not done by me. I do not need a GoFundMe page. So just saying. Alex gave me that news. That was just very really, I mean, like above and beyond customer service. Like even though what happened to the engine was not his fault, not a single percent was his fault. And Alex, like I said before, and I know I'm saying that I'm repeating myself a lot during this clip here, that Alex went above and beyond to help me out in sponsoring this new engine build. And yes, so that's actually part. Actually, I know I said two good news, but there's going to be a third good news here. Eventually, there'll be a third good news, but it'll take some time. As mentioned, the third good news is so another, another individual also that's also helping me out with this next build is Twitler Performance. So if you're aware with Twitler Performance, they got some stuff cooking in their oven. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. Kind of keep that slightly confidential, but just to kind of give you guys a heads up, I'll definitely be working with those two guys. And as obviously, I will be, working obviously with Jackal Motorsports with their tune. So with those three guys, AM Tune, Twitler, and Jackal Motorsports, those three guys will definitely be doing a new, updated, and slightly and a little bit better build with the new engine, new to me engine that will be arriving in the next couple of weeks. So I know that was a lot of me talking. So with all that being said, this will be the end of this video, and I definitely ended this video on a really good, solid note. So that's definitely in a way better mood than I was in the last video. So, and again, I'm really grateful for those guys that are helping me out during this process. So again, like I'll post their link down in the description, to their link, website and whatnot, their social media, their YouTube, whatever, definitely go give them a follow, a like. I mean, like that's, they deserve it, so I'm thankful for those guys. They're a great group of guys. So I'm very happy to be working with them in this next build. So again, thank you for watching this video, and hope you guys have a good one. Thanks.